As far as I'm concerned, this was a victory for Rebel Alliance Media.
A victory for Rebel Alliance Media. Rebel Alliance Media.
So then that was your agenda when you first started. That's what I was going to ask you, actually. Like, what made y'all start doing the YouTube videos? Because I remember those days. I was in the church since 2004. I remember watching y'all videos since 2008, at least, or 2007. And but what was... So that was pretty much your agenda to try to get as many people out.
We did that video in the Bronx. And pretty much from that moment forward, it was just straight war mode. Straight war mode.
Right.
We'd be up, D-Trash Cribs in the Bronx, up to like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, just working on videos. Or we'd be in Brooklyn in his crib, up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, working on videos. Be in Manhattan at the library or Barnes and Nobles, or I think we did one thing at Borders Bookstore on 34th Street. But we was putting it in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we were young cats, too. We was like 23, 24 at the time. We was just coming for everybody. ISGJC, Tamar, let everybody know, like, this is not the movement. You know what I'm saying? This Israelite stuff, this is not the way. We weren't spiteful. We was going to war, but it wasn't because we were disgruntled.
Yeah.
Everybody was trying to portray us as being disgruntled. We weren't disgruntled. We was going to war with people, but it was on a theology tip.
Right, right.
Y'all pumping the Bible, but are y'all really sitting down doing your research on the Bible? Are y'all really doing your research on Samson and Jesus and Noah and Abraham? Are y'all really doing your research on these different characters of the Bible? We would be in the library of research over there on 42nd Street.
I remember a video where y'all went up to that big library out there, because I've been to that library before.
I would be in there for hours, man. I'd be in there almost every weekend. That almost became like a second home to me.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about any encyclopedia I can find, any dictionary I can find, any credible source I can find on theology, not just Christianity, but I was looking up other religions as well, other mythologies.
I like how you said credible source.
Yeah, because you know what I mean, a lot of people write stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
but
right.
not everything is credible. So that's where the time comes in, when you got to sit down and cross-reference this source. The thing is, you also got to know what's true and what's just like theory. Like,
from what I've seen, a lot of the so-called findings, there's a guy named Ron Wyatt who's known for being just a hoax, man. He's always claiming to find some stuff, and I get people to always bring him up, and people don't realize that you just can't go off of any claim. You got to research that claim, see where they got it from, see where, if that even is really true. Because that whole Ron Wyatt thing is like, if you really don't research it, you would think, oh snap, they found a wheel of a Egyptian chariot in the Red Sea. When it's like, right, when it's just like, yo, all they found, all that thing did, it was like a little little Hubble thing. I forgot what they called it. And it went in the sea. It took some pictures, and they got the photo of some, something at the bottom of the ocean. They never tested it. They never did none of that.
No carbon dating or anything.
Right. So, but people take something like that and be like, you see, this is evidence of, Moses and the Red Sea splitting, and they just go off on a tangent after that. Going back to those videos that you were trying to put out information, like I look at that now and I'm like, wow, that was real foreign to me at the time, because we were just taught the Josephus and the Bible. That's it. We didn't even read nothing outside of that.
Well, see, probably by your time, probably by your era, that was a situation. But if you was a part of the ICGJC in the old days, they had books. Like, they used other books to complement the Bible.
Right.
When I first went to 1941, before the fire, I remember seeing like a little library, like in the cut. They had different books on the Indians, books on early Christianity and everything. So Tazadaqyah was the one that put out the order, that we didn't need other books. All we needed was the Bible.
Right.
That's all we needed. And I believe he put that order out because he was reading other stuff, and other people were reading what he was reading, then he would get exposed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I believe that's why he put that order out. It wasn't because all we needed was the Bible and none should want her made. No, he put that information out because he was reading other stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually that was confirmed. I think we got into the debate about the everlasting virgin. I think the Antichrist unit at the time, they was I don't know how the everlasting virgin came into the topic. If you actually research the everlasting virgin, you're not going to find it in any canonized scripture. It's not canon material. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
The everlasting virgin, that's shit that's considered the what is it called, the Nag Hammadi library and all them other Gnostic gospels. You're not going to go into the actual canonized scriptures and find that Mary was an everlasting virgin. That's in the Gnostic gospels.
Right.
You wouldn't know that if you never read them. You wouldn't know that if you never read any information on the everlasting virgin. So when I read that, I was like, wait a minute. You mean tell me this much? Because I remember when he first brought out the Holy Conception. And then after the Holy Conception, years later, he brought out that Mary was an everlasting virgin. And then he went on to this theory about the icon and the 3 stars and all else. And when you actually do the research, that shit is like 4th century, 5th century.
And the cross too, right?
Yeah, like all this shit is 300 years later after the actual, where the actual supposedly Christ has supposed to have been around. That means people had more than enough time to make up shit.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, yeah.
But you wouldn't know that unless you actually started reading other books on early Christianity and different key players.
Yeah.
So I believe that's the reason why he started teaching that. Like, don't read other books, because he was reading other books.
I remember you guys pushing real hard the origin of the cross.
Oh yeah.
That was a big one. That was a big one. I remember that.
People have to understand. Like I was telling Yash and Dapple Madan the other day when I was on the phone with him, like, and as I said on YouTube years back, like, I read the Bible still. I don't read it from a divine point of view. I read the Bible still because the Bible has rudimentary philosophy, rudimentary points to live by.
Yeah, I agree.
And you read the thing was Ecclesiasticus, where it says there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Or something. It's been a while since I read that.
I like the Ecclesiastes, Proverbs, and Ecclesiasticus. I've always liked those books.
Yeah, those wise sayings.
Right. Because
that's shit that you can live by.
Yeah.
But when you read in Ecclesiastes, it said there's nothing new under the heaven, nothing new under the sun. So you take that into consideration. Well, you think the cross started with Christianity? Like, nah, this shit been around long before anybody started thinking about Jesus Christ. The brother from I don't know if you used to go to Baltimore church, Elijah. He had put a post on Facebook about the swastika, and was it the swastika? No, he's put a post on the KKK, and I guess it was. A lot of times people we see stuff on the internet and we kind of share it because it's like, damn, really? But a lot of the people that be creating this stuff, they be wrong. Like, yeah, the KKK might be Christians, but are they the first ones to wear hoods? Like, no, like the priests of Spain, they can be seen long before the KKK even came out. And then the swastika, like, you think that started with the Third Reich, Germany and Hitler? That they didn't start that shit. So when we start looking at symbols, first thing we gotta figure out is, where did it start? Because anybody can take a symbol. That's the uniqueness in a symbol. Anybody can take a symbol and use it for their own interpretation.
Right.
That's the uniqueness of a symbol, and that's the ambiguity of a symbol, as well as the Bible. Anybody can take a Bible verse and say, well, this is what it means to me. You need to be re-educated on the Bible. You need to be re-educated on Christianity, because there's a lot that you don't know that you need to learn, and maybe that might change your perspective. Like right now, if a person tells me that they're a Christian, I'm not even going to be mad at them. If you believe on the surface level, the literal level, as the name came for them, the Christian literalists, or you understand it from the behind the scenes. I think there was a scripture about the kingdom of heaven, because it is revealed unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. I used to use that a lot when I used to try to convey to people that, a lot of the stuff in the Bible, it don't be literal, actual. It just be like certain ritual shit that's only known to a certain few.
That's when they asked Jesus, why do you speak in parables?
Parables, right. And he was like, because it is revealed unto you to know the mysteries. And he was only dealing with a select group of people.
Right.
That's one of the most iconic, like if you read up on esotericism and, the mystery rites, that's like a key scripture right there of an indication that the New Testament has a lot of mysteries, culture, mystery rites in it. But you wouldn't know that if you never actually sat down and did your homework, which was one of our key slogans. Do your homework. Do your homework. Do your research. Don't take our word for it.
I remember finding things in the Bible that was symbolic to some astrological things, like the woman at the well with the I forgot. It's all connected to some solar or astrological type of deity.
I'm gonna say this. Is there some truth in the Bible? Absolutely. Is there a place in the world known as Ethiopia? You bet. Is there a place in the world known as Egypt? Yes. Right. Does that mean Moses and the Red Sea happened? No, it does not.
I always tell people, the story of Spider-Man takes place in New York, and New York is real. That don't mean the story of Spider-Man is real.
You have to be able to separate fact from fiction, reality from goddamn comic books. If we look in the New Testament, I think that's in Galatians or something, where the Apostle Paul made mention of Abraham. It was just an allegory. That this is anybody that knows anything about literature and shit, that an allegory isn't something that's true. You're just trying to convey an idea, but you just use a story setting to explain a situation or an idea. It doesn't mean it's necessarily true. If you haven't done any research, you're not going to be able to discern what from what. You're just going to look at Samson and think Samson is really talking about some person, but anybody that knows anything, first of all, Samson, his name is associated with the sun. That's number one.
Right.
And then number two, certain elements of the Samson story correlates to Hercules. But what do I know? You ain't got to take my word for it. Do your own research, do your own homework, and make your own conclusion. But so it went from us going to war to actually educating. By 2011, we was basically trying to push people to use their common sense, use their reason.
When I first wanted to make videos, my main thing was reaching certain people that I knew wasn't trying to have me talk to them face to face or on the phone or whatever. And then it kind of did lead into more like I want to get it out to all the the people in the church. Since it was really after that whole blog talk radio show, it took me a while because he was calling me out so hard on that show, and I never got a chance to get on there.
Enemy of the state.
Yeah, man. I was sleeping that whole night till like that last hour, and I got on, and I never got through, but later on, I got up with you, and I think you sent me a recording of it.
I remember that night like it was yesterday, man.
So yeah, but when you called in that day, the radio show, you asked him about his passport.
Yeah, well, that was a long time question. That was one of the long time questions that we had for him, which proved that you actually went to Israel, Mount Sinai.
Let me tell you why I love that question real quick, because that cuts everything off right there.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I asked it. I knew he wasn't the Holy Spirit. I knew he wasn't the Comforter.
Right.
Your whole basis on you being the Comforter is you going on Mount Sinai. In 1999, before me, there was a video on his world tour when he was down in Pennsylvania antagonizing some church.
The children don't think like that.
I'm asking you not to film him, and I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to you. So I expect you to be a man and talk back.
The debate was whether or not he was the Comforter.
What, the Light and Body Church?
Yeah, Light and Body Church. And he's like, in 1999, when I was spoken to by God, motherfucker, if you got to convince everybody of something, then clearly it ain't true. You know what I'm saying? You got to keep convincing people that you went to Mount Sinai in 1999. But I knew that shit was bullshit. Based because by then, you know, I knew the Bible was bullshit. So if the Bible was bullshit, then you couldn't have possibly have been to spoken to by Moses in 1999. And then, like, when you start doing research, you start seeing that a lot of prolific people, they have that same story.
Yeah.
Something happened. They were spoken to by God in a trance. Think of Joseph Smith. You think of Allah. You were spoken to by Gabriel in the cave. Like, this is the story. Who would we believe you? Some nigga from Harlem.
I mean, you saw the little confrontation or whatever with Wes and all them out there.
Oh, yeah.
And they started going back and forth about what prophecy came to pass and all that. I think the main question is just, how does God speak to you? Prove that God speaks to you. That's it. I mean, that claim right there is such a crazy, great claim that nothing else even really matters about what he's trying to say. You just got to go to that first one. It's like, prove that, you know, show your passport, pretty much.
I mean,
prove that God speaks to you.
That was a long time question. It was like, I think in those days I had 2 long time questions.
Right.
One was for the ICJC. Tazadaqyah, prove that you went to Israel. Prove that you went to Mount Sinai and you were spoken to by God. And then the other one was for the Great Millstone and to prove that Mashah was actually the reincarnated King David. Like, those were your hardcore beliefs, the foundations. If you can't prove the foundation to me, I don't want to hear anything from y'all. And I think that's, you know, we got a response from GMS, and you know, they admitted that it was based on faith. Like, they had no proof. It was based on faith. I remember that. We got no response from ICJC.
Right. Yeah, I remember that whole time when all that was going on, and the Antichrist unit. Some of the same people that's going against Tazadaqyah now.
I think it's only a few remaining members left. You know, we can all sit up there, blue to the face, and show you what Tazadaqyah is doing. He himself is showing you what he's doing. Again, ain't no website, ain't no private investigator was following behind Tazadaqyah with that video. Right. That was put out by him. People don't know that.
Yeah.
There was no private. That's not a private investigator. That was his own footage put out by himself. Right. Showing you what he's doing. And you still got people in 2019 talking about holy, holy. That's the God sent comforter. So what that tells you, the man can damn shoot somebody in the head and they still gonna believe that he's a God sent comforter. We started out as a war. Like, this is war. Like, we going to war with all of y'all.
Right.
Lions of Israel, we going to war with y'all. GMS, we going to war with y'all. ISUPK, we going. Anybody talking about they Israelites, we going to war with you. Right. And then it transitioned from going to war to actually trying to teach and educate y'all, because, you know, y'all need to be re-educated on the Bible and this whole Christianity stuff. Yeah. What I believe what happened with this whole FBI thing is that somebody had to tip the FBI off, the IRS off, or somebody for them to actually get involved. And that's why we are where we are today. But at the end of the day, you know, he did that shit to himself.
Yeah.
He did that. You did it to yourself because you're too flamboyant with it. You're too flamboyant. You don't know how to keep a low profile. It's kind of almost like the same thing with Creflo Dollar. Like, you know, you do certain shit, you bring the heat to yourself. You want people, you want your congregation to buy you, give you enough money so you can buy a jet or a private plane or whatever. Like, that kind of shit brings negative attention to you.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, you're a reverend, you're a pastor, and you want your, you know what, we gotta look at your paperwork now. We need to see your tax payouts in the last 5-10 years. We need to see what's going on with you. You do certain shit that kind of brings negative attention to it. We already know their philosophy. Any attention is good attention. That's what they believe in. Right. But I mean, who knows how the FBI got involved? Who knows? Right. At the end of the day, it's, you know, either somebody tipped them off or something that he did. But, you know, he's too flamboyant with it. Too flamboyant. And,
I mean, I'm seeing a lot of cases with the IRS and FBI getting together to pretty much take down somebody with a tax exempt license.
Oh yeah, well, that's good.
I've been seeing more. I've been seeing more of that with the churches because I mean it's a big problem in this country.
Getting away with a lot of bullshit. They're getting away with a lot of bullshit.
Yeah. Benny, what was the dude? Benny Hinn was one dude that got raided the same way. Yeah, same way. And then there was that pastor that they was trying on. They was asking him all them questions on the video. They got like hours of like an hour of video asking him about spending money at Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
All this stuff, and it's like that's what they're trying to crack down on these cats that are taking advantage of the system and the people.
Yeah, like I mean,
it's a loophole in the system that is easy to take advantage of.
The proceedings that you get from a donation, you don't have to use all of it.
Yeah,
there's a certain percentage of it that you can use for the cause, and the rest you can basically keep for yourself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So I know that. This is why a lot of people don't donate to Red Cross and this and that, because they know, like, the entire, if I donate $100, the whole $100 is not going to go to the cause.
Right.
This is why a lot of people don't make donations to these big time organizations and stuff, because they know I don't want to call it a scheme, but they just know all of the money's not used for the cause. And like you said, the loophole. But at the end of the day, it's like you gotta do everything in modesty. There's nothing wrong with shopping at Louis Vuitton.
Right.
But if I'm a man, I'm not gonna use somebody's church. I'm not like, let's say if I'm running a church and I'm telling, hey man, we're gonna use this money to do XYZ, XYZ. I'm not gonna take that money that I said is for this and go to Louis Vuitton. That's the evil. And I don't think that's what John Doe is understanding. They trying to say, oh well, the men of God not supposed to be taken care of, and blah blah blah. Nobody's saying that. We're not saying that. Nobody's saying that Shah and Ariyah is not supposed to be taken care of. Are they on the same level as Jermaine?
Exactly.
Are they on the same level as Jermaine? What are you doing with the money? Like, why isn't there a church from the ground up yet?
Which is why church is in disarray too.
Right. Like I was telling Dabu Mathun, the video that I did with what's his brother name? Kazakrakar. He was sleeping in the park that morning.
Right.
I didn't really want to do that to him. I'm like, man, I got a conscience.
Right.
But the reason why I did that was to show how is it that your leader is flossing.
Yeah.
Hard, heavy, living it up, big pimping, we spending cheese, and then you got members sleeping in the park. That don't add up.
Right.
That don't add up. It's still wrong for you to be balling, and then you got members of your church struggling. That's wrong on every cylinder. You can't get out of that. And this is, I mean, you can use semantics and jargon all you want. The FBI ain't stupid.
That Hebrew house wasn't even. It was a sister that actually owned that. It wasn't. It had nothing to even do with the church. That was what's that apostle, the Jamaican one. He had a really thick Jamaican accent, man. I forget his name. Kakum.
Oh, Kakum.
Right? Or Kakumbun.
Kakumbun,
right. He was an old apostle. Yeah. He had a
real West Indian.
Right. One of his wives was from over there in Jamaica, Queens, or something like that. And it was her spot, 'cause she's out, and I spoke to her. She's cool people. She's good people.
Okay.
And she said that her credit goddamn ran to the ground because of that damn house behind that Hebrew house. They wasn't trying to pay nothing.
What?
Yeah, man.
That's funny. It's funny that you say that. Wow.
Yeah.
It's really funny that you say that, because when I was staying there, my grandmother, she had passed away at the time. This was like 2000 and my grandmother passed away in September. Make a long story short, so I ended up getting inside the Hebrew house. And I got brought to council because Taz was like, oh, well, what you gonna do, brother? Because, you staying there rent free, and like he made it seem like it was a money thing. Now that you're saying that, I'm like, wow, like,
yeah. I mean, with him, he's gonna suspect everybody else of doing, of trying to do an evil scheme or trying to he always, trying to damn, point the finger at somebody else.
Yeah.
When it's like, that's what's coming up in your head, because that's probably what you would be most likely to do for Tazadaqyah. That's how he thinks. So he suspects others of being like him.
I like that.
Yeah, that's how he is. I realized, especially during that 3-hour damn radio show, that was, I mean, he really exposed a lot on that show. That right there showed me, because during that show, he was trying to destroy everybody's character pretty much.
Oh yeah.
I started hearing him saying lies, like straight lies about me that I never, that.
That's their whole MO.
That's what confirmed to me at that time that I was like, wow, you know what? Now I know for sure that this dude was willing to say anything.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah.
They figure if they can say something to kind of destroy your credibility from other people believing you, that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
So we're going to say this about this person so that we can destroy their credibility so you don't value what they're saying. I'm going to say there's a lot of people in there that older than me. A lot of y'all brothers in there older than me. Karas Kababa, Arya Shah. Y'all been in there for a minute. I'm surprised to see that Quatazab Allah left, because I thought he would never leave. Quatazab Allah. I'm surprised. But
I saw a video he had made. But did he leave recently or something?
I guess so, yeah. I guess he's been in there for a minute. Like, damn, when I got word that he left, I was like, damn, what? Really? Like, that was a good brother.
I had seen a video that he just put out, talking about the times and dividing the times or whatever.
Yeah, that's Quatazab. Yeah. When you see brothers like them leave, this is what this is why I be scratching my head, because it's like, fine, it's 2007 and 2008, fine, you got two knuckleheads, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when you got brothers that like, yeah, that's like, that brother.
Yeah.
You're not trying to figure out what's going on. Like, come on, like these are good brothers right there. Like, I can't put myself in that category.
Right.
That's probably what made me not so much as credible when I left and was putting out information. But when you got good brothers that no stain, no blemish, and then they leave, like brother like Tazadaqyah, like that brother immaculate brother, no stain, no blemish, do anything concern, anything you request. When brothers like them leave, somebody got to be like, hold up, man, something ain't right. Well, I'll tell you this, I'm glad that there's a lot of different sources out there now that's saying the same thing. It's better for the cause. I always said, the more people, the better. I remember the Marxman used to have the same mindset, like, you ain't got to join with us, I can do your own thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, the more people that's on the same page saying the same thing is better for the cause, because now it's just not two knuckleheads that's just saying something. Now you got people that's all over, and they're saying the same thing about you.
Right.
Somebody got to be telling the truth. We all can't be lying.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We all can't be lying. You want to paint us as liars and evil men and all that. Everybody ain't lying.
Right.
Even the Bible says with two or more people, when they're saying the same, I think two or more witnesses or whatever the case may be, it got to be true. And even Tazadaqyah is caught. I got a video saved in my files where he said that, but I forgot who it was. It was about the Eddie Long situation, Bishop Eddie Long.
Oh, right.
He was speaking about that.
Yeah.
And, he was saying that it was two accusers that came forward, and he said, "Well, I know it's to be true because God said two or more witnesses, blah 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 blah." So that's how he said he knew it was true. So okay, let's use the same logic now.
Right.
Let's use the same reason. You have a bunch of people coming forward and saying that you're not what you cracked up to be. Who's lying? Who's lying?
Right.
This ain't 2007, 08, 09, 2010, 2011, where you got two guys showing at the top of their lungs saying, stop believing in Tazadaqyah. You can't use that excuse anymore. You can't use that excuse anymore. You got people, there's all kind of people coming forward. Former apostles, former security personnel. So you can actually leave 1941 Like Qualazapal is doing right now, and still teaching the Bible, still believing that he's an Israelite and XYZ, because that shit is not patented with 1941. You got to draw the line between faith in Christ and loyalty to Tazadaqyah. I've said this before. You can believe in Christ and not believe in Tazadaqyah.
Right.
You can believe in the Bible and not believe Tazadaqyah is the God-sent comforter. You can do that. Draw the line. See the guy for what he is. He's a criminal. He has committed crimes against the United States government, and he has also committed crimes against the Mosaic law. He is guilty. You got to draw the line somewhere. And if you don't, you're just as guilty as he is. You as known as an enabler. You're enabling him to keep doing what he's doing. Somebody has to use your voice. You got a voice. Use it. Speak up. Speak up against his evil. If you don't do it, then you're indirectly saying what he's doing is okay. That's all I gotta say on that. I'm not gonna let this guy keep consuming my energy.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate talking to you anytime and you giving your time out. Just so I could pick your brain.
I want to do something else with you too, man.